The old idea Marx had of industrial capitalism creating its own, or developing its own contradictions between the kind of investments needed, the kind of coordination and planning needed and possible, and on the other hand, I mean, the private ownership of the means of production, kind of conflict, which did actually lead to, in the course of the 20th century, a series of nationalizations or municipalizations. I mean, of telephone services, of the railways, of the municipal transport or electricity, lots of things which we started out as private enterprise, but we soon found out, regardless of political and ideological ideas of the government in place, that they had better be under public ownership or public regulation. But what has happened with the development of the post-industrial economy and the new sort of electronic means of management, communication, and of steering of production processes is that these advantages of public coordination have largely been suspended. And that's and at the same time, I mean, new developments in the financial sector has meant an enormous pooling of private capital. Nowadays, one could say, I mean, that the old Marxian dialectic has been suspended, and which we can see in this wave of privatizations going on almost everywhere, also again, regardless of whether it's a social democratic government or Labour government or a conservative government or liberal government. So that's something has happened, I mean, in the very structure of the economy, and this was also, of course, illustrated by the implosion of the Soviet Union, which in the end, I mean, couldn't make it into this new economic era. While, I mean, in the 1930s, Soviet economic planning and Soviet industrialization was an object of admiration, I mean, across the world. So this means, I mean, that there is no, for the time being, I mean, there is no alternative socialist economy which is envisageable, and deindustrialization of the rich countries in Europe in particular has, of course, also considerably weakened, I mean, the social forces, I mean, the labor movement, major force of social change. So that's why I think, I mean, that capitalism is going to stay not just for the next decade in singular, but most probably for several decades in the future, and we'll have to start from different premises if we want to change something in the world, and the perspective we had in the, say, in the 1970s, 1980s.